Hi everybody, it's Lene. Thanks for joining me today. I am back with another Dollar Tree paper bag craft, and these measure 5 1/8 wide and about 10 5/8 inch long. So let's see how accurate that is because these are mass produced and they're not known to be very accurate. So let's see. This one is about 10 3/4 and yeah, 5 1/8 wide is right. So let's cut this down to 10 inches long. And really what I'm wanting to get rid of is just this little notch at the top. All right, let's take that. Little notch is gone. Oops. And what we're going to be using is some little 6x6 paper from Hot Off the Press. Sunflower paper is so sweet, and it's a great sort of end of summer, early fall look, which I love. So the first thing is we're going to take a little flip through. You get 4 of each of these papers in here, and I just want to make sure to have enough, so I just set some aside. So I'm just showing you 1 of each. And I'm putting the links to all of these items down below in the description box. Here's some sweet little cutouts. Very cute. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is get some ink on the edges of our paper bag. So I'm going to use Velvet Fawn Prism ink, and we're going to just a nice brown color. Just darkening up that edge a little bit. I think it's a really nice step. It makes it have a nice little shadow edge, gives it a little bit more depth, and almost creates a matted visual look. Like you took an extra time to add another matte to your paper when you didn't. You just did a little inking on that. All right. Do both sides. Go. And then we're going to actually fold this, and then we're going to glue some of the gussets closed on this one. All right, so now the bottom of the paper bag is going to go on the right, and we're just going to take the open side and we're just going to fold it over. Make sure these edges align. We don't need to score it or anything. We're just going to make sure that that's creased really well. And then we're going to ink that edge too. There we go. All right, now we're going to take a little bit of glue, and we're going to glue where this fold is. We're going to glue just this part right here. Let's see, open that up a little better. Right there. We want that to stay closed on both sides, but we want to leave this side open so that we can make that open up and be a little bit of a pocket. I'm just going to be using Cosmic Shimmer glue. Any glue works really well on this part. Just want to stay not so close to the edge because we don't want to like have it squish out. All right, that's going to be good. Now we're going to make this a little tuck spot later, but for now we're going to leave this part open. All right, and we're going to start not on the front cover like I usually do. We're going to start on the inside. So let's take a couple of papers. And because we're dealing with a lot of brown, I'm going to do brown, I think, on the outside and do the more like white papers and gray papers on the inside. And the way I like to cut these down, these have like a text or script writing on them, but we're going to add a pocket to this side. So we can keep it like this. We can use this side. I'm just kind of going with the flow here, you guys. So let's take our little pencil, and we're going to leave a little border here and here. And then we want to mark this so that it continues the border right there. All right, and let's take our paper cutter. And then I like to keep all these little scraps because they're great for making tags and additional little tuck items and things like that. All right, so this part's gonna go right here. I'm gonna put a little bit of ink on this, even though it's pretty dark. It does take care of when you cut paper, and if it has a white core in the paper, it's still gonna show that little bit of a white edge a little bit. All right, so this is gonna go right here. And then we're gonna make a little pocket for it. There we go. That cute. And then on this side I can take this piece right here and we can actually just tear it. Just like that. And we can cut that to the same width. We want it to be the same as that. And then we're going to ink the edge a little bit. All right. And I cut it a little short for some reason. That's okay. I actually like that better. So we're going to take this, ink that edge brown. And then what we'll do is, because I didn't see my pencil mark, this is a tiny bit too small, but it's going to have a cute little matted border around it. So there's always a way. Don't waste paper. So I put glue on those 3 sides, and then we're going to place that right there. And then you could just take a little tag. This one we're going to dress up later. There's the base of it. And I'll just put it right there. Move that up a little bit. That's why I love liquid glue. You can kind of move it around. There we go. All right, so for the other side, we're going to take the same brown paper and we're going to put it right here so that you can see it under there. And then we're going to take this paper and put it right here. And I'm going to take care of that and I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Remember when I said at the beginning that I was going to make it this white on the inside and then brown on the outside? What can I say? Change my mind as we go. It's part of the creative process. So we've got this side done with a little pocket. Now I've covered this part with the same paper here and then used the little scrap that was left from the 6x6 to do the top of this little gusset part. And then I just took this paper, which is the opposite side of this one, and I just trimmed it a little bit smaller. Okay, so it has that little mat like I did on this side. And now I'm going to do a little tearing. So I just want to mark it. Now, if you tear this way, so you're tearing this part towards you and this part away from you, you're going to have an edge that does not have a white edge on it. And then if you tear it away from you, then you're going to have a white edge like this. So I'm going to just experiment with the direction that you tear, and sometimes a white edge is what you're going for and sometimes it's not. So I've got that torn, ink that. All right, now we're going to put this right here. We're going to do the same thing, glue it on 3 sides, because now we're going to have a pocket on top of a little tuck spot pocket. Go. So this will be open and this will be open. So now just need to put a little bit of glue right here to close that pocket. Got a little too close to my edge, see it's squishing. I don't like it when it squishes out. I'll let that dry. So now let's talk about what's going to go inside the book, and then when we're done with that, we're going to do the cover. So I did some tea-dyed papers last night, and it's super easy to do. If you've never done it, it's really, really simple, and it gives you this aged look to your papers, and it just sort of depends on how long you're going to leave it in the tea or how much you use, how dark it is. But this is just regular copy paper or printer paper. I grabbed some out of my printer, and as you can see, I just dyed it very lightly, but this is what the printer paper looked like to start with. Okay, so it's just a little more yellow, a little brown, and I'm going to attach some photos here of that process because I forgot to film it, and at the last minute I just grabbed my camera and took a couple pictures. But basically this is how it goes. I just took a couple of tea bags. I just used Lipton tea bags, that what was in my cupboard, but this is also a great way to use up tea that's gone bad or is expired, and use up those tea bags in this way. So I used for about 1.5 cups of warm hot water, okay, hot water, and 3 tea bags. And then I put them in the hot water and I let them steep for not very long, just like half an hour, okay? And then take those tea bags out, and then I just have a cookie sheet, and I take probably 3 or 4 sheets of the copy paper at a time, and I just lay them in the cookie sheet and then just pour some of that tea over them. Now, what I like to do is take one piece of paper, put it in the cookie sheet, pour some tea on it, then do the next one, pour some tea, and do that. And then they're all nice and ready to go, and then I take a second cookie sheet and I take these out, and then I transfer them to the dry cookie sheet, and I put those in the oven. Yes, I put them in the oven for about no more than 5 minutes at 350 degrees. And this is not something that you want to not set your timer for. Set your timer and then make your next batch. So while those are in there cooking, go ahead and do 4 more sheets with the tea bath, and then when the dry sheets come out, take them off of the tray. I just set them on a dry towel, and then I go ahead and I do another batch of them. So the whole process for me took 20 minutes, and I didn't leave them in for very long because I didn't want a dark stain. But you'll notice too, they have sort of like, you can see where the tea has stained it, and I even took one of my tea bags and I just sort of opened it up and took some of those little flecks of tea and let those come out into the water, and they just kind of give you a really cool pattern on here. So it just looks really cool and aged, just kind of like nasty old paper. That's what we're going for. So then I took these, and they were super fluffy when I was done, and they were all dry. They were like this thick. So I took those, and when they were very bone dry, and I just set them under something really heavy, like a foam book. I just used a hardcover book, and then I took my die cutting machine and I set it on top of that. So anything that's heavy on top of that book, and I just left them overnight, and this morning they were substantially flatter. So that's how you tea dye. It's very, very simple. So let's take these, and we're going to cut these down a couple at a time to fit in our little book. I like to just cut, let's just cut one at a time, but normally I would cut like 3 at a time. All right, so we're going to take this, and we're going to, this is just 8.5 by 11 paper, and we're going to cut it to 4 3/4 inch wide. Now, this little piece right here, we can totally save that and make that into a smaller little book. So hold on to these pieces. All right, and now we're going to cut it to 9.5 inches long. Boy, my book is just in the way. 9.5 right here, except there's this cool edge, and I want to keep that. I want to keep the edge that's really speckled with tea. All right, so then once we get to this point, we're just going to fold these in half. And like I said, normally I would do multiples at a time. You want to fold them, use that bone folder on them, and we want to get a stack. Well, let's just see how many fits. So I'm going to cut these down, and I'll let you know. Okay, we're back. I have folded all of my papers after cutting them down, and I was able to do 13 pages, so that gives us a 26-page book. And my tip for that is when you are, after you have cut them, go ahead and fold and use your bone folder on each individual page, and then go ahead and stack them together one inside of the other, because it will give you a nicer fold right here. All right, so now we're going to take these, we're going to find our center, there we go, and the center of our book right here, and we're going to align those. Just make sure everything is kind of even, like that. And then I'm going to take some of these little clips. These are the ones that my friend Rhonda gave me for my birthday. Hey Rhonda, I'm using the clips. And we're going to clip the bottom too. And you can also use like large paper clips to do this. There we go. And I just want to make sure that, I'm going to move this over a little bit, that there's about equal space between here and here, and then go ahead and fold it and make sure stuff isn't peeking out the top edge. All right, we're good. Now, we're going to take our little bookbinding kit and things that we got. So this is a little kit I got from Amazon. You can get them on Temu. You can get them in lots of places. They're very inexpensive. Comes with an awl. That's AWL. And we're going to go ahead and take this and we're going to punch a hole here and here and at the center. And we're going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And it's really simple. It's the only stitch I use when making these books. It's just really fast and easy to do. So the first thing we're going to do is take this and go through the center. Okay, that's about where the center is. Look where you are on the top. Keep your fingers away, because this thing is really, really sharp. All right, we're going to go through like that. And then you want to do about 1 inch from each end. Do the same thing. And we're going to go over here. This side's always a little trickier because my hand's in the way. There we go. All right, 1, 2, 3 holes. All right, and then we're going to take some wax thread. Now, if you don't have an awl, you could use a thumbtack with the kind that has a little handle on it. I need to grab one of those and show it to you. Even a really, really tiny thin nail, something that you can hold on to that can put that through. The other thing you're going to need is some wax thread. You can also use dental floss. That's a great substitute. Or you can use embroidery floss. All right, so I like to measure it and do it like this. 1, 2, and then about 2.5. Whenever I do 3, I always have way too much. But if you're nervous, do 3. Because you want to have enough to reach through everything you're doing. This kit also came with lots of little needles. You just want your needle to have a large eye to thread this wax thread. Now, if you are using wax thread, I like to kind of smash the end flat and then put it through here. I'm going to leave a little tail. Now, it's going to have a little tail that we knot at the end. If you want your tails on the inside of the book, you start on the inside. If you want your tails, like if you were doing ribbon for your closure, you could have it be on the outside and tie a nice little bow on the outside. We're going to do it this way, the center going right through. And we're going to pull that through. We're just going to leave about 2-inch tail. Then we're going to go to the bottom part. And we're going to go through there. Oh, did I move it around too much to move my holes? There we go. We're going to go through there. Oops, took away some of my tail. All right, and now we're going to go all the way to the top. And we're going to go through there. Okay, see where we are? Now we're turning it over, and we're going to go through the center. Now with the center, I always like to try to move away this part of the wax thread because sometimes you can stitch through it. So just kind of move the tail over and kind of get out of its way. There we go. We can remove our needle. Come all the way through. All right, looks good. I want to take up some of the slack here. See, I still got too much slack. There we go. All right, so the other thing I like to do is take one tail and put it under that center length of wax thread. So you're kind of going like that. And then we're going to tie a knot this way. Knot it. And then we're going to tie it this way. Doing the knot in opposite directions. There we go. And then we're going to trim that just like 1/2 inch long. And that's all there is to that. We can take away our clips. There we go. And now we have this nice little nice and neat binding there. But now we're going to talk about doing a closure because this is pretty thick. This is pretty fluffy. So we're going to do a ribbon closure. So I've got some sweet little red gingham because I just think it looks really sweet with the sunflowers. So the first thing we're going to do is take a little bit of glue, and I like to just put it right here on the center. And you're going to need to figure out how much ribbon you want, how big of a bow you want. I've got about 24 inches here of ribbon. And I think I'm going to only use, well, let's just measure. Ooh, measuring. All right, so 5. Let's do the full 24 inches. I think I had 36 inches there. All right, so we're going to take our 24 inches, we're going to fold it in half, and we're going to place the first half on that glue. Okay, just like that. And pull a little taunt. And then we're going to do the other side, and the glue doesn't have to go all the way to the edge. It's just keeping it in place so we're getting our papers down like that. All right, there we go. And now I've cut down some papers that are just a little bit smaller, and that's going to go over the ribbon. These papers are so pretty, it's kind of hard to decide which side to use sometimes. But you do have multiples of each, so you don't have to make that choice every time. All right, and we're going to turn this over, and we're going to do the same on this side. How cute is that? I'm putting the sort of border part of the sunflowers on the edge so that the bow has plenty of space to be tied. Oh, what happened there? Oh, there we go. There we go. And I made sure to ink my edges on my papers. All right, so now we can like tie that, and you'll just have the cutest little country bow on there. If I could learn to tie a bow, come on. Just like this. Cute, right? Okay. Now, we also have a little bit of lace that is so cute. And I have this one and I have this one. This one is a sort of a larger crochet edge. I think it's a little too big. It's covering up all my little sweet bits. And then we have this one, which is so cute. And this one's from the Dollar Tree. Get that whole roll for $1.25 tree rather. Sorry. Could just add just that little extra bit right there, which we got to be a little extra. I didn't get close enough to my edge. There we go. Just that little bit right there. And then I just like to have it be a little bit of an overhang so that I can trim that when it's dry. Just gonna let that dry for just a few minutes. While that is drying, I'm gonna work on my tags for those little pockets, and then we'll come right back. All right, we are back. As you can see here, I've just trimmed my lace even with the edge, and the way I do that is turn it over, just take my scissors and just trim it like that so it's nice, even fit on each side. Put a couple of little white buttons right there just to contrast with that ivory lace. And then added a little vinyl dazzle sticker here. I used the smile from You Make Me Smile. I just wanted to add smile because, you guys, I love to give away my projects, and I don't want it themed too much because I want my viewer friend who gets to, my subscriber friend actually, who gets to have this one, do what they'd like to with it. So I just put smile there. Let's open this up. And if you watch all the way to the end, there's instructions on how you can win this. We're going to give it away to one lucky viewer, and I'll send it to you in some happy mail, but you have to watch next week's video to see who the winner is. So just follow the instructions at the end if you want to participate. And I've got some sweet little tags here, you guys. So this little one is perfect for adding this little tag right here that I just used a cutting die and cut it from those 6x6 papers, and then I utilize those little cutouts with a little foam tape, put those there, little red ribbon, and on the back a little rickrack, another little button. Great space to add a little journaling there. That can go on one side. And then, you guys, I always love to print photos. I don't print photos very much, and I'm really trying to change that. Let me know in the comments, do you guys print not as many photos as you used to? So that's another thing you can add in there. My sort of vision for this was, what a cute little mother-daughter gift. I loved seeing my mom's handwriting since she passed away, and I thought, how sweet would it have been if my mother had handwritten in her recipes, our favorite family recipes, in a book like this, maybe included a few photos of us cooking together to put that in there. This would have been the most treasured possession. So that was my vision for this, but whoever wins this can do whatever they'd like to with it. I've got some more little tags here. Of course, we made that little torn pocket right there. Go to the back. We've got another little, this one goes sideways, a little tuck pocket right there. And then we've got this little one that could go right in here. These pockets are so new, they don't have a lot of space yet. There we go. So you can kind of like stack your little tags. That's so cute, just like that. Utilizing the little ribbon there for little pulls on your tags. And there you go. So you guys, like I said, I love to give away my projects. So if you stick around at the very end, there's information on how to participate. For those of you who like, comment, and are subscribed, you will get a chance to win this. And then you have to watch next week's video to see who won. Thanks so much for joining me today. I had a lot of fun doing this sweet little bag. And, you know, definitely try out the tea-stained papers. Just be very careful when using that oven. See you in the next video.